Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg. Mr. Bond right now is very busy. He's playing with his ball. In today's video, we're going to do a full review of this diver right here. It's called Aquatico Oyster. It's the second Aquatico watch that I'm reviewing on this YouTube channel. The first one was a bronze pilot watch. It was an interesting watch for a couple of reasons. The first reason, it was an affordable bronze pilot watch, and the second reason, it had 200 meters of water resistance, which is quite unique for a pilot's watch. So what about this watch here? Well, this is clearly a diver watch on a rubber strap that has 500 meters of water resistance, and the price is still fairly affordable, $359 US. I don't have any discount codes or anything like that, but if you go on their website, I've seen that they're offering 10 or 15% discount code if you sign up for their email list. So I suggest you do that if you're looking to buy one of their watches. And the last thing I should mention before we actually get started with the review is the fact that Aquatico did provide this watch for the review for free and we get to keep it. Of course, that's not going to affect the review in any way, just want to be transparent. Now, let's talk about the case dimensions on this diver. It has a diameter of 44 millimeters, so from this point to this point, but excluding the crown, it's 48.5 millimeters from one lug to another, so from this point to this point. It has a lug opening of 22 millimeters, and it's only 13.3 millimeters thick. I say only because the watch has 500 meters of water resistance. Here's what it looks like on my 7.5 inches wrist. For the most part, it actually wears pretty well for a 44 millimeter diameter watch. Now, by no means is it a small watch. It still wears large, but it wears similar to something like a Seiko Turtle, where it has a bit of a cushion case where the bezel of the watch is actually a little bit smaller than the case width itself, so it has a bit of a disappearing act on the wrist. The fit is definitely not as comfortable as the Seiko, but fairly close and fairly comfortable for its size. It is also not overly thick, only about 13.3 millimeters, which is a very reasonable thickness for a watch with 500 meters of water resistance. Usually the higher the water resistance, the thicker the watch. Overall, fairly comfortable, not overly heavy, 149 grams on the supplied rubber strap. The case is made out of 316L stainless steel, all brushed case here, except for this beveled edge that goes from the lug all throughout the case, and that's done in high polish. Gives this case a nice contrast. And the last part that's finished with the high polish is this underside. It has a bit of a beveling, thus making the watch appear a little bit thinner. Nice design choice there. However, it's not all positive. If you can look at the brushing here on top of the lugs, it has that circular brushing, and the brushing quality is not great. For watching this price category, for around $360, I was expecting more, if I'm being honest. As it is right now, it's not awful, but it's not outstanding. I briefly talked about this crown already. I like how it recesses into the case. Of course, it's a screw down crown, helping with the water resistance. Crown action, pretty good. Enough grip, and the size of the crown is pretty good. First position, or the zero position I should say, hand winding. Second position, date change. And third position, time setting. And this one is powered by the Seiko NH35 movement. Were you guys expecting anything else but the Seiko? Supposedly the watch has 500 meters of water resistance, however it has a case back that's held in place with these screws, or at least appears to be held in place with these screws. It's very puzzling to me. How did they achieve 500 meters of water resistance without a screw down case back? Either some clever engineering is going on, or the watch doesn't actually have 500 meters of water resistance. Since it's a diver watch, of course it also has a diver style bezel, 120 click, unidirectional. Very solid clicky action. The grooves on this bezel are quite big, so it's easy to grip. A lot of resistance. And it has this weird click backwards. It happens every single time. After that, it doesn't have any backplay. But that first click, so it's kind of weird. I don't like it. I think it cheapens the overall bezel action and the overall quality feel of the watch. Maybe fix that for future iterations of this watch. On the positive side, it is a ceramic bezel insert and it is loomed. Here's a loom shot for you. Plenty of loom on the bezel and on the dial. I also like that two-tone loom, kind of reminds me of some Zelos watches. In fact, this watch reminds me of Boulder or Borealis, these type of tough diver microbrand watches. That's at least the vibe that I get from it. I also appreciate the original design of this timepiece. It's easy to do an homage to a watch, but it's much harder to come up with an original design that looks good. I think this watch here looks pretty good. I like that orange seconds hand, nice accent to match the orange triangle on the bezel, and orange writing on the dial. Nice big baton indices, double indices for 12, extended indices for 6 and 9. We have a date at the 3 o'clock position with the date border around it. I also really like that inner dial color. The way it plays with the light, it's very pleasing to the eye. The biggest negative of this design that I find is the size of this watch. 44 millimeters, not everyone will be able to pull it off, and not everyone will want to pull it off. Larger watches are generally a little bit more uncomfortable to wear. They're also heavier, so your wrist gets tired quicker. And just for everyday use, you don't need such a big watch. Now, as a diver piece, having a little bit larger of a watch does help if you want to put it over your wetsuit or something like that. Definitely having a heavier watch and a bigger watch is a good idea. Now, this one comes on a rubber strap. It doesn't come on a stainless steel bracelet. The rubber strap is of a great quality. Again, kind of reminds me of that Borealis and Boulder straps that you find on their watches. Tank buckle with the Aquatico logo there. And it also comes with a spare leather strap. Has this carbon fiber-like texture and orange stitching. The quality of the strap is not the best. That's why I never even put the strap on the watch. I think it looks best on this rubber strap, and it would perform best on the rubber strap because it's a diver watch. Alright, so that's the review of Aquatico Oyster. First of all, the name Oyster. I think they could have come up with something a little bit more epic, so to speak. The watch is this big, over-the-top diver watch with 500 meters of water resistance, and the name is Oyster. Kind of doesn't fit together. The second negative, while we're talking about negatives, is the movement. Yes, Seiko NH35 is a solid choice, but I would have preferred a Miyota 9 series movement. It's high beat and it's a little bit more accurate from my experience. The third and the last negative that I'm going to talk about, this one is very obvious, the size of the watch. It's not going to be for everyone. 44 millimeters, not everyone can pull off a 44 millimeter watch, and not everyone wants to wear a 44 millimeter diver watch. So those are the negatives as I see them. Yes, the bezel action could be improved, at least it's properly aligned, but it's not as satisfying to turn, so that's a bit of a negative, but at this price point, I would forgive it. Everything else about the watch is pretty good. I like the fact that they include 2 different straps. I like the design of this watch. The specs are great. Sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel insert, great loom, automatic movement, of course, 500 meters of water resistance, if it in fact has 500 meters of water resistance. So a fairly solid offering from Aquatico watches. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. In fact, next video we're going to release is a state of the collection video. Really excited to share that one with you guys. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it when it comes out. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Seiko 5. Reference, I think, is SNK 809. Really like this watch. I did a full review of this watch about a year ago. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a link to bondnatostraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. The second link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.